With us this afternoon to give remarks in his 22nd year as Director of Athletics at Wayne State University, Mr. Rob Fournier. Rob?
Thanks, Jason. Also, before I start, I want to give a shout out there to Dr. Turner, who helped put all this together, done a fabulous job. If you watch her, she's always following me around during these events because I'm not really sure what I'm doing, so she keeps me on track. So, Candace, thank you. And also Lauren and Jason and Gerald, they've done a great job in putting this together. My good friend Keith Williams said to me, he goes, I like this venue a lot better. He said, why didn't we just do this here every year? And I said, well, Keith, we used to play basketball games in here. And he's like, oh, yeah, I remember now. So, where have you been? I'm waiting 2 years for this. We've been through a lot the last 2 years as an athletic department. I'm sure each of you seen out here will acknowledge. The interesting thing about athletics during the whole pandemic, we kept competing. When the rest of the university shut down and went virtual, we were still going live over here. We practiced in masks. We tested ourselves 6 times a week. And that's that little finger thing that you do. No, ask those guys that were doing that antigen test early in the morning before they could go to practice. We canceled our first football season since there was a war in Europe, the one in the 40s. We moved our volleyball and our cross-country teams to the winter and the spring. We won a basketball championship right on this court without any fans. And when the university said, well, you got to be vaccinated in order to keep competing, 97% of our student athletes got vaccinated. So we feel the pain that you all felt. But I think there's a good lesson in there, and I think it's reflected in the student athletes we're inducting today. Student athletes are just wired differently. You give them a challenge, and they'll meet that challenge. And thanks to the president, who understood that, athletics was given an opportunity to continue while the rest of the campus was shut down. I've been waiting 2 years now to introduce this class, and I'm glad we've had this opportunity today. I'm going to go through and just make some brief remarks about each of them, as I normally do, so you can get to know a little bit more about them other than a statistical presence. Sue Verbeem, softball. Talk about having to wait a while. Sue was one of those outstanding players that just got overlooked in a sea of great student athletes and coaches. And honestly, we probably missed recognizing her accomplishments. Then COVID hits. Then she can't get across the border because she's Canadian. And hell, she's the last name of the inductees in the alphabet. But today it becomes official. She's in, even though she's not here. Consider these statistics in a storied softball history. She was first in doubles with 58, second all-time when her career ended with 21 home runs, third all-time in total bases with 365, third in runs scored with 147, and ninth in batting average at 340. I was walking down the hallway the other day, and Jeff Weiss stops me. And he says, hey, have you figured out yet what you're going to say about Sue? I said, no, I haven't gotten to Sue yet. I said, I'm kind of thinking about this whole budget thing we got going on. And he goes, well, listen, if you can, I got a stat for you. Yeah. He got a lot of stats over there. I said, well, what is it? He goes, well, there's only been 4 student athletes in the history of Wayne State softball who have 82 or more extra base hits. And they've all been inducted in the Hall of Fame. I was like, really? I said, so Sue? He goes, yep. I said, well, who are the other ones? He goes, Courtney Noble and Allison Allen. I said, well, Jeff, that's 3. Who's the 4th one? He goes, Lindsey Butler. I said, well, Lindsey Butler's not in the Hall of Fame. He goes, yeah, but she'll get in there someday. But anyway, and she will. She's the National Player of the Year in softball. But it just underscores how dominant she was as a hitter. I once asked Coach Bryce, you know, the guy who's the all-time winningest coach in Division II, 1,340 career victories. I once asked him, I said, well, why don't you hit Sue, cleanup? I mean, she's obviously the best hitter. You can get away with stuff like that if you're the athletic director. Anyway, he indulged me. And he's going, well, Robbie says, the way I look at it, the more times I get her up to bat, the better chance we have of winning the game. And he says, and besides that, she may lead off the game with a home run, and then already the opposition is on their heels. Like, okay. Life imitates art, or sometimes a coach's prediction imitates game. So it's the 2003 Super Regional in the NCAA tournament. Number 16 in the country, Wayne State, is playing at the number 6 team in the country, Grand Valley. The winner to the World Series. First batter, first pitch, Sue Verbeem, a rocket shot, 1-0 Warriors. They had one more run, and we win the game 2-0. They lose the second game. Now we're in the third and deciding game. No score. Megan Mishak, whose picture is behind me on the wall, is throwing another shutout. Bottom of the 5th, 2 outs, because we had won the coin toss to be the home team. Sue Verbeem hits another home run. Warriors win 1-0. And next stop, their first trip to the World Series, Salem, Oregon. Now, that didn't mean that Sue was a one-dimensional player. She was far from that. She probably played the most demanding position that you could play, and that was shortstop. She had a record 574 assists and a record 28 double plays that she turned. The team during that period of time when Sue was playing had a 705 winning percentage and twice advanced to the NCAA tournament in 2003 and in 2006, and was the co-champions of the GLIAC 1 year. There's a funny story that I'm going to paraphrase that Coach Bryce used to tell about Sue. One time, an opposing player tried to steal second. Sue, being the shortstop, applied the tag aggressively. And the player responded by saying, "Why did you have to tag me so hard? I mean, it hurt." And Sue's response to the player was, "If you don't want to get tagged out, don't try to steal." Well, today, even though she's not here, she's not out of the Hall of Fame. Even the Canadian Mounted Police, even COVID, even her last name in the alphabet doesn't stop her. I want to recognize Sue Verbeem. And let's have the softball team stand up, who was gracious enough to come here today.
Final inductee, Sue Verbeem. Sue, a 4-year softball letter winner, 2003 to 2006, and a native of LaSalle, Ontario. She was twice named All-Region and was a 3-time First Team All-GLIAC selection at shortstop. When she finished her career, Sue ranked in the top 10 in the following Wayne State categories: fielding assists and doubles, home runs, games started, double plays, total bases, slugging percentage, runs scored, etc., etc. Those are great numbers in a very, very good softball program that has a total of 17 members previously inducted into the Wayne State Athletic Hall of Fame. As Rob mentioned, as a freshman, she hit 2 game-winning home runs at and against Grand Valley State to help Wayne State win the NCAA Regional and advance to the first ever College World Series appearance in Salem, Oregon. Sue, who earned her Bachelor of Science degree in kinesiology, was a GLIAC All-Academic honoree and a 5-time member of the Academic Honor Roll. Rob, it gives me great pleasure to present Sue Verbeem for induction into the Wayne State University Athletic Hall of Fame. And if you turn your attention to the video board, we have a response from Sue.
Good afternoon. For those of you that don't know me, I am Sue Verbeem, better known as Beamer on the Diamond. I'm a former softball warrior, having played from 2003 to 2006. I'd like to start off by saying that I am truly honored and humbled to be selected as a member of Wayne State's Hall of Fame. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person to accept this incredible honor along with my fellow inductees. First, I want to say thank you to Gary Bryce and Pat Kent for giving me the opportunity to live out my dream of playing university softball. This is a game that I love so much, and the two of you made my dream a reality, and I am forever grateful for that. My journey began playing for a local Little League team and took off when I joined the Windsor Wildcats. This is a local travel organization. It was there that Gary and Pat began attending tournaments and expressed interest in my abilities and felt I'd be an asset to their program. After continued communication, I was invited to visit Wayne State to learn about the programs offered and to tour the campus. I knew in that moment this is where I was meant to be, and that I was meant to be a warrior. After 4 memorable years of softball and education, I received my teaching degree in physical education with a minor in health. I am now an educator working with the Greater Essex County District School Board in Windsor, Ontario. Another dream that came true thanks to the opportunities presented to me by Wayne State University. Throughout my 4 years, Gary and Pat gave me the opportunity to start in every game at my favorite position, shortstop. Thank you again for trusting and believing in me. As a team, we shared a lot of great memories during long bus rides and while visiting and playing schools in Georgia, in Texas, and in Florida every year for spring break. One of my most memorable moments was during my freshman year when we made it to the College World Series in Salem, Oregon, the school's very first ever appearance at the World Series. It really sunk in later in life when I would watch the College World Series games on TV and was able to reminisce about our experience. While we were at the World Series, Rob Fournier and Jason Clark treated us like royalty, taking us to our fancy dinners and sightseeing, which was much different than the fast food I had been accustomed to. I recall Gary and Pat taking us to the beach where I was able to see the Pacific Ocean for the very first time. That day has so many stories that I will spare you from, but I look back on them fondly. I would like to give my sincere thanks to Rob Fournier, Jason Clark, and Jeff Weiss for always being so kind and caring towards me. I always appreciated Jeff having stats readily available and Rob and Jason having stories we could laugh about together. I'd like to also thank my teammates. I definitely wouldn't be here today if it was not for them. I am so thankful for the amazing friendships I gained, many of whom I am still close with today. Whether we talk often or touch base to catch up once in a while, I feel forever connected to them. I love when the team has the mixers on the mound. It's a great time to see everyone reminisce about the good old days and even the ones we don't miss. For example, Coach Nick, he would make us push a 2x4 with wet towels down the hallway. This was not fun at all. I definitely did not like this. Lastly, but certainly not least, I want to thank my parents, Jim and Marilyn, for all their love, support, and encouragement that they have always given me. If it weren't for them putting me into softball at a very young age, I would not be here today. Thank you again for this incredible honor.
It's my pleasure to introduce
Hall of Fame class of 2021. Have a seat when y'all get a chance. One side on our own, but the other one was a child. You can take a picture of it, so I'll put this back in. Take a picture of that there. So
Okay. Yeah, for time. Excuse me. You want to step on over, step on over.
Brad, stand back up there. Coming through.